Hello everyone, this is Naz Islam, and in this video today I will be discussing how we can use UV as a package manager for Python and also as a project manager. Like as you can see that UV compared to the Poetry, PDM or PipSync, right? So as you see that like it's really faster than Poetry, PDM or PipSync. And as you are all aware about like the Poetry PDM and pipsyncs, right? So they are pretty much the Python package manager. So UV is quickly becoming the de facto of AI development using Python, and for different types of package management, we are um, using UV for that, and it's really fast. Manage different set of like packages and projects as well. So scrolling down, right? So as you can see also there, so these are some of the highlights over there. So let's get here and quickly install the UV Python package in our system so that we can use these in order to manage different packages in Python. So based on your system, right? So if it is Windows, just go ahead, like we can click on this one and you can put it in your command prompt or terminal in order to install. Yeah, this looks like a PowerShell command, right? To install it. And as well as like since I'm working on a Mac OS, so I will just like go ahead and copy it. And if I open up my terminal window here and put it here, right? So as you will see that it's downloading the UV 0.11.26 version, and it installed under this .local/bin folder, and everything is installed and I'm ready to use UV. So if I just hit UV, right? So as you see that it's showing all the different commands I can use with UV. So it's successfully installed. So let's get back here and to kind of like understand how we can use different project and packages. So what we can do is that if I clear my console over here, okay. So using the UV, we can create a new project with the default Python environment. So let me create a project called my project, and we can create a project using this uv space init command, and whatever the name you want to give your project. So here my project is there. As you can see that if I search by this, you would see, okay, cool. So let's do that. Let me open this in my VS Code to kind of like understand the project format and the files generated by the UV. Okay, that's great. So now, as you can see, that it created already a git ignore file, right? So it by default it generated a git repository for me actually. So which is really great, right? We are ready to go for using Git as well and version management as well with this newly created project. So if you also click on this .python dash version, you would actually see the exact version that was used in this project. So it took the default Python version, which is in my system, it's 3.14 or 3.14 per se. And if we check the main.py, right, so this is the actual entry point for our application. So as you can see that we have some boilerplate code here, the main function, and calling the main function prints pretty much the hello from my project. And this is how we are calling the main function. Cool. Um, going back to the myproject.toml file, right? So this is kind of the blueprint actually of your project, right? So as you can see that we have some useful information, the name of the project, the version of the project, the description. We can update the description as well here, the readme which pointing to here, and the requires Python, right? So here, as it mentions that the required Python version for this project should be at least 3.14 version. So how it works, we will see it in a minute. And here is the list of the dependencies. Right now, we don't have anything, right? As we haven't added any dependencies or anything to it. So I hope this project structure we have gone through pretty good in this format. So let's open up the terminal so that like we can play with some of the UV commands, which will be. So let's say like we want to add a new dependency, right? So for that, the UV command is UV add, and we can add any particular dependency, right? So we can add like requests, which is one of the Python package, right? Um, so if I hit enter, so you will see that it installed the 2.34.2 version, and it added under this dependencies list. And as well as we can also see the ev log file has been generated, which pretty much like list like all the downstream dependencies from this particular request. So like as you see like so this request actually is coming up with some other dependencies like certify, set normalizer, URL lib3, and everything. So this is the full form of the whatever the dependencies are installed on in this project. Um, so what we can do as well is so let's say like we want to add another dependency for PyTest, right? And since this is a test framework, test package, right? So we want to add it for the as a dev dependency, right? So we can add it like the dash dash dev flag, which will add it as a dependency. So what we can see is that like if we hit enter, right? So it pretty much adds these as a dev dependency. Um, and how like we can, so let's say we want to check the Python version, right, in our project, right? So we can do like uv run python dash dash version, right? So this would show the whatever the version that is enabled in this project. um, let's say we want to um, remove package as well, right? So we can do remove, and we can remove the request, for example, right? So we should pretty much remove the dependency from our project. um, so how, if we are having a kind of a like a legacy project like which is not using the UV configuration, right? Like for example the pytoml file, right? So how we can do that, right? So for that, right, so we have one repository over here. What we can do is that let's get back to GitHub over here, and as you can see that this project is called tiny python projects, right? And there are like different folders and all like we can run. So right, and as you can see that this project has a requirements.txt, right? And we all know that under the requirements.txt pretty much like we can add the different dependencies and we can install it like using the pip command, right? But there is a way using the UV that we can as well convert this project into a UV project so that we can run the different UV commands. So let's do that. So let's clone this and let me go back to my terminal and let's clone the project, right? And if I open that up in the VS Code, right? So here, right? So what you can do is that like we can open up our terminal here, and the way we can make it a UV project is through the UV init command. So compared to the previously the init command, right? So we added a name, right, for our project, right? UV init my project. So instead, right now, since we are already inside a project, right? So inside the root folder of the project, so we can just run the UV init instead of passing a name, right? So what this will do, right? So it will generate the boilerplate UV projects over here. So as you can see that one.python version has been generated with the 3.14. The toml file has been generated, and as well the main file also has been generated. So let's so what we want to do, right, is that in our pyproject.toml, right, so we want to make sure that whatever we have under this requirements file, right, that all the packages are installed in one shot, and which also will be updated in our pyproject.toml as well, right? So let's do that. What you can do is that uv add, and you can specify the name of the file which has the name of the packages. So in our case it would be the requirement.txt, and if we run this command, as you see that our pyproject.toml has been updated, and as well as you can see the output of the command that everything has been installed. Let's look at the UV log file as well, and as you can see that the UV log file is generated as well. Pretty cool. um so this looks, yeah, this looks good, pretty good. So let's try to run our application, right? So we can try any of this. So for example, right, so hello one calls pretty much the hello world. um so this is a comment, right? Let's do this. Let's yeah, let's call let's run. So we can run any Python file using the run command. So what you can do is that let's get inside of the 01 hello folder, and if we're um, calling it this way, as you can see that we can use this uv run command in order to run any Python file. So as well, if we are doing the 06 for the function, let's see, yeah, so it's calling pretty much the main function over here this way. So that is how we run different Python files using UV. And as well, we can also do, pretty cool stuff with this, right? So let's say, we want to generate a project using a specific Python version, right? So the right command for that would be to, or maybe I can also, call it in my terminal as well. So we can do like uv init, and we can call it project 3.13, let's say, right? And what we can do is that we can specify the Python version, right? So through this flag, so that's the Python, there's the field, and we can specify which version to be used. So if we call it this way, right, as you would see that so if I'm gonna call it this way, right, and omit it in my VS Code window, so you should see that this particular project has been generated, and we are able to check the Python version over here as the 3.13. So pretty dynamically, actually, we can use different versions and create projects with different Python versions. And similarly, we can run the if we run command with the main.py file, and which would pretty much um, call the main.py file this way. So these were actually some of the really useful commands as a AI developer we use for managing different packages and different versions of projects. So let me know how you felt and you enjoyed the video or not, and we'll catch you later in another video. Thank you so much. Bye.